Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. Should I even bother? Like, I know... Like, I could just take this out, but I feel like... If I would do this, I'd be able to see the audio. But this, I kind of like to keep it at this. Oh, my God. Now, time to get into Guerra. When Rec Room? Well, I was gonna ask Zalgoni to get on Rec Room. I could do it tomorrow. If you're for it. Alright. Now I'm gonna get some more Garnetzx attorney. Yeah. Alright. Okay. So, where we last left off in the previous game, or live stream, we finished the first case of the second half. Nice. Nice. Why, you missed Rec Room, Jolly? Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. So is this like a... Is this sort of like a continuation? Well, it is definitely a continuation, but it's sort of elaborating on the third or fourth case? I think, one or the other. And also, I turned the latency back down, so it's ultra low. In other words, whatever I get here, Episode 2, The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. Oh, great.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door,
also a name, put my name in the intro.
mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
Wait, what? Chat takes too long. No, I kind of fixed
most
it.
Can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death. The condemned criminal's curse. The dread demon of coal gas.
I fixed it so that whatever you type in, it should be faster here.
Though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Macbeth? That's one of the most tragic plays I know. My name is Ryunosuke NARUHODO. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial is just one small part of the epic tale. A tale which we're now about to awaken that from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. So hangry. Now we're back in Britain again. Since the first case of the second half took place in Japan, now we're back in Britain with NARUHODO. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better get down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate, which is Iris. 30th of August, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite.
Ah, Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some bad news. I was surprised that... Shush! Not another word. Mr. NARUHODO. What the hell? That machine. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you, too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes. I see. So that's it! What? Yeah, everybody's wearing an alternative outfit. Even Sholmes is wearing like a kitsune outfit. The truth is clear to me as day. The faculties of my observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Oh. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course. Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way ever since I first met you. Oh, it has. And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Really pulled your button off? Oh, that's a shame.
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? Ah, my jaw! As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that I can't expect to know where it is. So, whereabouts on the floor, I presume? Helpful. Ah, my jaw. Oh, my jaw. Ah, crash. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction is unerring. Oh.
But early, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl, who is the author of the highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes is published in Rand Magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really?
That's right. She had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. Ugh. You must tell us about over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun.
What do I have? The Iron Band. Iron Band and a hair from Kusuma. Okay. Not much else. We can still examine things. So, the machine really is imposing, isn't it? I can never remember its name.
Really calls it the Great Analytic Scope. It can analyze anything at all.
It doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? Ah, an extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything which you care to present. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess I have no idea. Aha. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct... LOL, Rec Room. The Great Analytic Scope to solve the problem. That Might not help. Okay. There's your violin. There it sits. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius.
Stradivarius.
Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Bruno.
Didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly says Stradivarius on the label. What? Ah, the ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 50 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Ella Sholmes, bargain hunter. Yes. Also, Bob Buns KG, how are you? How are you? Oops! I opened something. Alright, now I'm gonna unopen something by closing it. Damn it! Alright. But, is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow. It says so on the label. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Ampro! Ampro. Super Pro! Super Ampro. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Mrs. Sato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess.
Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh, why not?
Everything is in intricate balance. Hurley spends ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come crumbling down.
Ha.
Susie noticed it a very delicate arrangement, right from the outset.
Make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. What does this do? What is this potion? This potion doesn't do anything. What does this do? What's this picture? This picture doesn't do anything. Why is there a control handle on the chair? Who knows? Moving on. Chest. Tea. Chest tea. Tea chest! Ah yes, the huge metal chest with a lace cloth on it, being used as a table for coffee and tea. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut. To keep unsuspecting visitors out.
That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases.
Yes, though I've been letting be. I got shit in my throat again! Damn it. I got shit in my throat again!
And that's the way it'll stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening up uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten.
What? What? There's a beast inside there or something? What? Why? Why? Shoe on the fireplace! When it gets this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all.
Rather like a great detective in days of crimes and no criminals. Hurley.
But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. You'll get plenty of that in the winter, trust me. An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the summer months. Hot summer months. What do you think? I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the... Cold fire? Yes, of course. Brilliant. The trouble is, none of the fires I build ever burn cold. How it taunts me. Fires not supposed to burn cold! Fire is not cold. Why would you ever think fire is cold? Whoever said fire is cold? So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squid. Why? Alright, what do we got here? Stuff on shelf. There are different pieces of evidence from cases you solved, aren't they, Sholmes? Not quite, NARUHODO. Not quite. Trinket. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. What the hell is aplomb? They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. NARUHODO. Memories. Yes, memories. Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. Wonderful. Alright, what's over here? Here. Stuff. There are so many different bottles up there on the charming little set of white shelves.
Oh, do be careful, Bruno. You mustn't try the contents of any of these bottles, even if you're hungry.
I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, I wish you could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
Alkaloids? He what?
He said he was hungry. I'll be extra careful.
And this is where you type up all the novels. Yay!
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
I can't believe it. When the deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was typing for the whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might have fallen asleep on the job. You're freaking typing in your sleep, dear God. Alright, tea set! Look forward to finding out what your aroma tea will be like, have every single day. Alright, I gotta double check one thing here. And then I'll get here. Yeehaw. Where's it at? I'm double checking stuff. Hold on a second.
Well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same choice.
Alright, are we good? We're good. Alright, we're fine. Oh, wait, what?
Oh, yes. That's because different blends can have different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat.
That sounds ominous. Yay! Books? No. Books? No. Books? Yeah. Alright, I can't examine anything else. Why would I? Because... I don't know. Alright, converse. What do you have to say? Miss Susato's letter. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
Read it. What?
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer at a Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Ah, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in a trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do! We've held the man twice! You know, in those two cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago?
Ah, the mustache twitchy man with somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
Wait, what? That's a lot of mustache.
He didn't have two mustaches, really. Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very good and deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now.
A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Alright, startling news. Now what?
So, what was the startling news penned by Miss Susato?
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that the case of that nature did not occur.
He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mr. Sato asked that we read over our case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Haunted lodgings? Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mr. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes.
It was back to Narutohood.
It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Huli here was all funny about it. Remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysterious as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mr. Sato suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Mr. Sato's repatriation. Huh.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. This was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, because her father was sick. No, it said that he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. Why would they want Susato back in Japan? But she believes it's certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Mr. Sato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's really all about?
Well, who can say? What? But you said...
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow.
My calendar is quite My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive. I feel as if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fault of my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Lily. Don't worry. See you later.
Frickin' Erlock Sholmes' alternate costume. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Oh, God, shit in my throat! I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. So Seki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Why?
Aha! I found them at last.
Iris, right? Are they?
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and what fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. We just need to find a clue and have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Yeah, because he got super penalized from that. What, was he disbarred? It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. I A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. Fog was thick. Nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student who was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. Because he returned to Japan, we received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. Bart's? Who's Bart? So Susato-san and I summoned a handsome and headed immediately to the hospital. And there's a mouse there. 21st of February, 5:30 a.m. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. Recovery ward. Why is there a rat there? There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh! So yeah, we're back in February with Susato-san and Sholmes. You're late! What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting what I felt was an eternity. Huh. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was someone unjust that I alone had been bruised at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. Yeah, the victim in the case. Next to the mousey. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. Oh, great. So the lady was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is... yes. Here we are, Miss Green. What's with this statue? This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. NARUHODO. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what we call a typical figure for that purpose, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Well, if you want to draw a full-figure person, it's the right tool for the job. Right. Now, who's this? Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Huh. Oh, yes, it's a picture of the young gentleman. It looks like he's about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Huh. My, Mr. NARUHODO. I didn't think you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Now, what's with this stool here? Huh. Why is there a mouse on the floor? Eek! A mouse, Mr. NARUHODO. An enormous mouse. Vermin in the hospital? That doesn't seem to be the best. It looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. I'm not sure we can say it's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking. Everything is a fat joke. Big. That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was stabbed in the pavement, though. I expect a friend and family member probably bought some things for her. Alright then, let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt, and... No, Mr. NARUHODO, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. If The young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Oh, really? We're just going with the fat joke, are we? Ah, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. Really? What is this place? A zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. My God. Oops. Second handbook receipts and the nearby street map. We still have those? We still have these two pieces of evidence after the case, but we don't have the other people. Nearby street map. Everything that was marked after the case. Huh. Now it's here. Ah, this looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. What?
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear, how worrying.
What's worrying is that why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Alright, what's this? A bowl? Cabinet? There are all sorts of medicine in this cabinet. Look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in the reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can't imagine if you're peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mr. Sato. Alright, now, to talk to Miss Green. But what kind of a voice am I gonna come up with for her? Good morning. What voice am I gonna come up with her? Hello, I am Ryunosuke NARUHODO from the Empire of Japan. Should I just use Mrs. Garnetzx's voice for this? Nah, that would be too stupid. That would be repetitive. What kind of voice am I gonna come up with? I don't know, just the first thing. Garnetzx, slightly heavier.
Oh no! What is no, not that! Are you the man who...
No, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you.
Oh no! What's your life then? Are you the one?
Oh no, I assure you. I'm Mr. NARUHODO's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes.
Oh, best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green.
I'm an artist.
Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I just really want to be an artist. What I mean is, blah, 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 blah.
No.
But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. There's no one knows. Stab it in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident, about yourself. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That 4 days ago, I think, is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time.
But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly by none other than I,
Elections, Esquire. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. NARUHODO's hard work in the court that solved the case.
Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Who?
Oh, I see.
Me coming around seems to have made everyone practically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Her regaining consciousness got everybody busy. Why?
Oh no. We're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really we are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the joke. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at least, at best. I mean, I'm a student of arts, really, at the Thorndyke Academy of Fine Arts.
Damn it, my fucking glasses are pushing in my nose.
Oh my, an artist of fine arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, no. Actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
Brixton? I see.
Oh, very interesting. Oh, no! Is it?
Is it what?
Brixton is some 10 shops away on the underground from here.
Brixton Road. Where's Brixton Road? That's not even here, is it? Is that this street? Or is it something else, I wonder? No, never mind.
And Thorndyke Academy is mere a 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre.
Does that matter, Miss Jones?
Perhaps not, but Briar Road is far less salubrious part of the town by comparison, dwelt in those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill.
It struck me somewhat as out of the ordinary for a young, fine art student to be walking in such a district. That's all.
What's this? She suddenly climbed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into young Maynard's private affairs.
Dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind me, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Why is everybody...
Is there Mr. NARUHODO here? Mr. NARUHODO?
NARUHODO now? Well, if you're looking for NARUHODO, the lawyer, that's me, bye.
Ah, Mr. NARUHODO, good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutmeg.
What? Saucy Nutmeg? Mr. Nutsme sent a message to me? Nutmeg?
But why would a policeman be delivering a message to Mr. Nutmeg?
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
What are you waiting for? Let me see that!
Oh.
Well, this is most unexpected.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
No, how could I have?
Well, take a look at it then. It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder. Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsme's notes. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did.
That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in this note, my dear fellows. Tell it again! The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what?
All hail a fiarce.
What? A fiarce? What the hell is a fiarce? I don't even know.
At once.
What is a fiarce?
Fiancé.
What? It was only yesterday as Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's murder in the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. What happened and why? 21st of February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ground floor. What on earth?
Oh my, the gentleman is deceased. Without question, he's dead.
Look, I'm starting to miss an Naruhodo Esquire!
Mr. Natsume,
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday! I was finally home after 2 days of misery! And then I wake up to the next day! No limit catch a wall like this! Waffle, one without wiggle! I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! Not the horrible Hillock Sholmes! Shut up! Shove yourself at all! I never invited you!
Mr. Sholmes came here with us.
Okay, yeah, I have a weird way for voice acting Soseki.
I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Tisk, here they are, already. The busybodies.
What?
Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at the crime scene, Sholmes. I wonder what else causes heartburn. And I also eat fish and chips out of a newspaper. I wonder how they regenerate all the time. Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Yes. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Inspector.
This is a crime scene! Don't you go touching anything, sunshine!
Or good morning to you too, sunshine. Who is this? This person looks very, very, very familiar. What the hell is this?
Oi! I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no, I just wanted to look. That's all.
No chance! I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it.
Ugh, someone's in a bad mood.
There's certainly some bad air here, isn't there?
Do you make another fart joke right then and there? Alright, sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Okay, now what? So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Mr. William Shamspeare.
William Shamspeare. What? William Shamspeare.
He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss, as it happens, or just dead.
Shamspeare. You're really ripping off Shakespeare, aren't you?
Mr. Shamspeare.
It was the landlord, Mr. Old Girdab, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The old fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Girdab got word and kicked the door down. But
doesn't Mr. Garnetzx have a bad leg?
oh yeah, you're right there. It was just a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Really? Soseki-san?
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life, and a miserable end to it.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in this investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looked odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be important to take a statement from the cohibitor.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
Certainly seems that way. He just does come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Poor man. How unfortunate.
I'm right over here! Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been gone all that long. The body's still warm.
even if the inspector would allow it. I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Is there a knife right here? No? Can I talk to Natsume? I can talk to Natsume. What a terrible thing to have happened.
It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences.
So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose.
So did you know the victim? Were you friends? What's the matter with Soseki Sandao? It was an innocent question enough, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken about it?
Well, I suppose he was a complete stranger. But he never invited me to his room. No, never! On my honor, I swear it.
What an extreme reaction.
Not extreme enough!
You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
We found him here. I felt much. Which is why I said when asking you to come. The effect over there!
And do I see somebody there? Why is Sholmes up there? Why is Sholmes up there? Why is Sholmes up there? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Am I gonna do what I think he's gonna do?
Ha! You need only observe to know, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally.
There's nothing natural about that pose.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madame, patience. We have not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
You're gonna do your logic and reasoning spectacular again.
My goodness! But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Sholmes said significant somehow?
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was poison lingering in the air last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense!
Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deduction?
No, please! Pretend I'm not here! Invisible, ineffable, irregardable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts.
Really? We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes at the time? Sussy! You sussy baka!
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise.
Really?
For Sherlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning, spectacular. Act 1.
I'll smoke this pipe. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Cause of death. Conclusion.
Careful observation, the victim reveals to us that the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison.
So Natsume knows there's poison.
Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe,
1/2 of sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper? In fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. And Mr. Natsume doesn't know what's what, so that's not the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. So, Natsume is sure of that. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. So again, that wasn't the right answer. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Why? Though personally I have greater interest in the taste of foul Garnetzx, of course. Why would you... You know what, never mind. What the... Oh yeah, the alternate skin. Poisoning from soap ingestion. Topic 2. Suicide or murder? The cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? So Natsume knows. The audience will recall the death that occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine in die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Natsume is not so sure about that. To draw a conclusion on such a meager evidence would be foolish, however. Certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup. Fanta is good! Fanta! Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Uh-huh. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is a broken lock. No. Not the broken lock. Though forced open now, the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the soul key was victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim had consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Along with this inferior soap, or wafted in inferior scent. With that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on his way to thereafter. No possible perpetrator present. Thus concludes the final act of Electrum's great deduction. Yes. We all know that was wrong. Because there are several moments in which Natsume got confused. So obviously we gotta step in and correct a few things. Not impressed. Not the worst thing I've seen, but what the hell, go on. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. Are you disposed to identify just one thing, aren't you, Mr. NARUHODO? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It's quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear as quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. In truth, we have tried little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago. My postulation was that it would cleanse my guts. Eat soap. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spit the contents out of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort in somebody. I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it, even if you did.
There's something that troubles me, actually.
Oh? What's that?
It's Mr. Natsume.
Ah!
I couldn't help noticing the shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched the nerve somehow.
No. Nonsense. That was so anticlimactic. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yes. Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are somewhat a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out.
Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick up the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly change them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Okay, here we go again. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Cause of death. Poisoning from soap ingestion.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in the dissolute room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates that use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, one half of sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap so perfectly set upon the dish, like the victim's last supper? Yes? Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The fork will reveal the answer.
Alright, here's where we gotta do the correction. Well, you can't deny the fork implies that the man was eating something, or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt to use it with chopsticks.
And of course, only half of the bar of the soap is left on the table.
But might there be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate the soap?
Okay. Teacup. No. There's a frickin' hat. No. Teacup. Can I move anywhere else? No. Did he eat anything else? No, I can't look anywhere else. Okay, so what am I gonna look at? What am I gonna do? Teacup. Do you think he was drinking tea with this soap?
Cup's empty, so there's no way of knowing.
Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water. He was dissolving soap and he needed to gulp as much down as possible.
Please remember they may actually have been a soap lover they've made out to be.
Okay. What are we looking for and why are we looking for it? We're not looking at the fork. Or are we? I suppose you eat soap with a fork, wouldn't you?
I don't think it's a question of what you plan to use. You should eat eat soap, full stop.
But then why? Why does a man have a fork in his hand?
Oh dear, I understand your frustration, Mr. NARUHODO, but please don't take it out on me. The point is, if we decide the man used the fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Sholmes' deduction, so we really have to consider some other clues.
Okay, there's gotta be something. The other half of the soap? Other piece of the soap. On the floor. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamsmear must have really loved that stuff.
Let's not jump to the conclusion, Mr. NARUHODO. Look closely at the soap. You see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How can that be?
I think that they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
So... could it be the man was about to eat, of course? The fork reveals the answer. Okay, so I have 3 options. Obviously, it's not the fork. We can count that out. It's not the teacup, because the teacup's empty. There's another bar on the soap. Another bar of soap on the floor. Maybe we can use that. So it's not the teacup, because... Why would the teacup be used? Would it be the other bar of soap? I have 5 chances to do this. If I screw up 1, I have 4, of course. I'm gonna say, could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course, other piece of soap? Yes! So it did work. And I got a little mousy on my shoulder, dear God. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. In it being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating the soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no death of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. NARUHODO, but one that furnishes us with the answers we seek. Well, London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted contents of the table. Tainted contents of the table. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I'd want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in the room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes through people's lips, is it? Okay, is there something else we can use? Contents of the plate. Contents of the plate is just the soap again, isn't it?
Well, you know, there's a saying in Japanese, don't you?
If your food is poisoned, you might as well eat it, plate and all. Well, there's an image. All I can picture now is the victim taking a bite of the soap and then the plate. The soap like tofu and the plate like a giant rice cracker.
Oh dear, that sounds a very bland combination.
Okay, what are we looking for, and why are we looking for it? Is there anything over here? No. No. Claimed his life was the contents... No. The contents of the plate, the teacup? Yes, a Western vessel for serving infusions of dried tea leaves.
It's a teacup, Mr. NARUHODO. As you know, stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly.
Okay. I don't know where to go from this. I don't know where to go from this. I don't know where to go from this. Why would I go from this? What are we looking for? We are looking for the victim's life was claimed by poison and tainted by the contents of... Is there anything in the far corner? No. Anything here? No. Is there anything on the floor? No. So what am I looking for? Is there anything anywhere here? No. The fork again. The victim didn't eat the soap, then what did he eat?
Yes, it's real mystery, isn't it?
Ah, got it. He wasn't interested in eating soap at all. It was a fork he wanted to satisfy his hunger with.
Mr. NARUHODO, I really don't think it's helpful to continue with this line of questioning with the gentleman's particular taste.
Susato-san has a gentle way with words, but I know what I've been told off. Okay, what are we looking for? Where is it, and how do we find it? Is there anything off about this? Can we move anywhere else? No, we can't move anywhere else. Okay, so we can't use the contents of the plate, and we cannot use the teacup or the fork. Can we? I don't know. If we did, we'd be down 2, so that's not gonna work. Okay, what am I looking for? What's the answer? I've seen angles, and I tried to get angles. Can't look at anywhere else. Okay, There's gotta be something. I don't know where. I don't see anything under the clothes anywhere. It's not the consciousness of light. Okay. What was he trying to eat? Was claimed by the poison that tainted the... Just for curiosity's sake, I'll say it's the teacup. Here! Okay, so it was a teacup. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have a vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the sanctuaries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in the teacup. Poison in the tea. Really? Suicide or murder? Now we're getting to the next part. The cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? Detective with very pro outfit. That's just the alternative outfit he has. It's actually like a sort of alternative skin. The audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. Shamspeare. There'd be nothing remarkable about that. But what troubles me is Mr. Nasme's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggested. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues.
What are we looking for? Did this suggest the answer? Other teacup. Really? There's another teacup? It's another Western vessel.
It's a teacup! And it too is empty.
Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, we can assume that the teacup from which Mr. Shamspeare is actually drinking. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it.
Yes, I know exactly how you feel.
So we suggest that the other teacup might show something. So take that! Yep, we got it again. The other teacup suggests the answer. Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were two teacups in the room all along. In other words, this is the strong indication that the victim's last supper. There was a guest present. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in the room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly unbelievable, unjustly unreasonable! To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at this table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in the room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is a broken lock. I'm not sure I like this deduction. Okay, so... Okay, so... It's interesting that Natsume is confused at the broken lock, considering the fact that he broke the door down himself. But that's not the answer. I'm afraid it's too late to go back on the halcyon days of eating too much soap. The identity of the guest who was here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Who was it? Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. NARUHODO. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. candle. Spectacles? No. A book. Pile of books. Okay, so there's three options. Actually, there's four. One of which I'm obviously not taking because broken lock. Okay, candle, bottle, books. Huh. Okay, what would be the clue? Pile of books. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are a makeshift stage and the costumes. I've overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read, The Picture of Monsieur Lacour, Canterbury Yearnings, and Amir for Gabarot. Those books were actually used in the case. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate accident when Mrs. Green was stabbed. Brzezinski said he'd just been to a bookshop and bought them. That's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Mr. Natsume claims to have never been here before. What does that mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Pile of familiar books. Huh. So... take that! There we go. Indeed, what revealed the answer, of course, is a pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's not mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in the room. It's a link to the truth. Ah! Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at the second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence! In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room. Will you not? This very moment! No! Never! None! Negotiable! If you can't bring your own copy here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could considerably have brought the books here on the evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have only brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in the room last night as a result of poisoning. And that day and night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Soseki Natsume at the scene. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. Yes. Alright. Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yes? Door! Key! Lock! Entry! Exit! Entirely impossible! He's so flustered, he's even stranger than normal. What? What do you think? That's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You've had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. What? Misery me!
Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
You horrible little chums!
He really has found himself in our trial now, hasn't he? Come down now, no dilly-dallying. Outside! There's a carriage waiting.
Look, I'm so NARUHODO, Squire! I never imagined that I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me! Please, please! I'm missing!
Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
And one more thing!
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me!
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Seki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. Alright, my dear fellow, that's all it brings you. Alright, I gotta get going. I gotta use the washroom and I gotta relax for tonight. I gotta sleep, and I gotta do some things tonight. So I will see you all in the next live stream tomorrow. Later. Da 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 da.